So this is the opening of our regularly scheduled Norton Conservation Commission meeting for Monday, March 24th at 6:30 p.m. Our members participating tonight are myself, Julian Kadish, Chair. We have Lisa Carosa, Vice Chair, Dan Pearson, Joe Carvalho, Mark Fernandez, Tom Vest. And I think our only absent member is Paxton Hoschel. Our first item of business is meeting minutes of 2/24. I was not present. I don't have a copy of those minutes right at my fingertips. Do we have a quorum for those minutes?
We should, if I recall correctly.
I don't think so, because
Was it
Paxton was
Paxton?
there, yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, I think the next minutes we do have a quorum for. That's for the minutes of the 10th of March. And Mark was the only one absent for that, and we've got 4 members to vote on that.
I just had a few comments, if I may. One thing is the
Recording in progress.
Craig Kilburn memorized, but
Well, but wouldn't the implication means the staff of Wheaton College? Or are you saying there's a
well, you see,
There's
that's
a,
exactly it. I don't
contractor?
think, right, it isn't the staff of Wheaton College, though. But actually, more importantly, in the blue paragraph above that, it says their mins 8 tabled, as there is no quorum to vote.
Yeah, I just fixed that. I saw that.
Okay.
All
And-
right.
But, you know, getting back to your other point, we actually didn't determine who was going to be doing the repairs in our discussion at Wheaton College. We just determined that it would be done according to the orders of conditions.
Well, that's good to know as well.
Well, but you know, this has an open order of conditions, and they're allowed to hire a contractor, any contractor. So I don't, and
Right.
we don't have to put that in our minutes, and we didn't discuss that, so I don't think we can put it in our minutes.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think what's needed here is stating that Wheaton will be continuing on the ongoing repairs, rather than, I mean, Craig Kilburn, for all we know, could be an outside contractor. So anyway, it's a small point. I'm not.
Okay, I can strike the first line and kind of start up with they'll be continuing with ongoing repairs. Like Wheaton
Okay,
will
well,
be continuing with ongoing repairs.
Wheaton, yeah, much better. Is Mr. American's first name Dan? DEN in the 250-1173, which is a little farther down.
Let's see.
Yeah, his first name is Dan.
Dan like me or DEN?
So,
No,
so
Dan,
does-
Dan like you.
So it just.
I
needs
see that,
correction
yep.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that was about it. I had put down, I had highlighted some other stuff, but I seem to have failed to have saved the highlighted version. So shame on me. I don't think it was anything too important. So if you want a movement, I'll make a movement.
Well, Dan,
As
if you find it, you could always send it to me before they get signed, and I can make those adjustments.
Any other comments or corrections before we entertain a motion to accept as modified? And if not, we can consider that motion from Dan with a second.
Second.
So we have a motion from Dan, seconded by Lisa.
did my audio just go up?
You're frozen, so it might have gone off. We have a motion from Dan, seconded by Lisa, to accept the minutes as amended. Roll call vote beginning with Joe and Lisa.
I think I need to abstain.
You were present.
I was present there?
You were present on this is March 10th.
Okay, March, okay. Aye.
Aye.
And then we have Tama and Dan.
Aye.
And Dan has an aye indicated, and Mark, I'm assuming you're an abstention, and I'll throw in an aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Next item, I guess, is been discussion concerning in-person versus remote meetings.
So there's an active bill on the governor's desk right now to extend the virtual and hybrid meeting capabilities until June 2027. So my inclination is that that will get signed between now and when it expires on the 31st. So I will see you guys virtually April 14th moving forward.
Okay, which is our next meeting. So vote on the request for continuance of public hearings. Is that the same thing rolled in, or what is that?
Yes. Well, so we received
Oh, yes, I got it.
we received some last minute continuance requests. 250 1173 0 South Washington Street, 250 1175 225 South Worcester Street, and then recently this afternoon 250-1174 for 361 R Old Colony. So those three have requested continuances.
All right, we can entertain a motion for those. I assume they're all continued until April 14th.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Are we going to do them as a bundle? Are we allowed to do them as a bundle?
I just listed them all. I think it's okay to say that we can do them all as a bundle for efficiency purposes.
All right, we have a motion, was it by Joe and seconded by Tama? Is that, Joe, did you make the motion? Okay. All right, motion made by Joe, seconded by Tama, that all three of these that we've listed, 1173, 1175, 1174, all have requested continuations until April 14th. Joe and Lisa, how do you vote?
Aye.
I guess that was an aye from you, Lisa, because your sound is a little low. Because, okay, yeah, you're kind of, okay, and then Tama, Mark, and Dan, how do you vote?
Aye.
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 Okay, and I'll throw in an aye. So those three motions, or that bundled motion passes. And then we have public inquiries, department updates, anything in that department, John?
So couple, well, obviously the rain has been coming, so been checking on a lot of sites that are under construction, but no issues as of yet, that are substantial. But you know, we do have a couple more new projects coming through the door. Those will be in front of us, by the next meeting, and, look forward to those, so.
All right, next item on the agenda is file number 250-1168. It is the redesign of the intersection of Route 123 with North and South Worcester Streets, presented by Mass DOT. So we have representatives. It looks like Elise might be that, or who's up?
Yeah, so this is Matt Shute with Beta Group and Elise Tripp with Beta Group as well. We're representing the town on this one. MassDOT is also on as well, Kevin Thompson. So I figured, you know, it's been a while since we were on, I think back in December. I thought I'd go through some of the slides we had in that earlier hearing, just to give everyone a recap of what the project is, if that's okay.
Yeah, you should have screen sharing capability.
Yep. And then they'll get into some of the what the change has been since the last time we were in front of the commission.
So, Matt, for clarification purposes, is MassDOT not the applicant?
They're not.
So what, I'm just wondering whether I need to recuse, right? So,
So MassDOT is administering all the design reviews, Lisa, and they are funding the construction for this one. It's on the tip.
okay,
The town has no involvement during construction. They're just funding the design and permitting fees for this one.
okay, so it doesn't sound like I have to recuse then. All right. Thank you.
Sure. Can everyone see this opening slide? Or anyone not see it?
Yeah, we can see
Easier
it.
question. So again, this is the intersection of North and South Worcester Street with 123. We had some ongoing design reviews from MassDOT between the last hearing and now that warranted some design revisions and, well, mostly a limit of work on South Worcester Street. And we had to wait for comments from MassDOT on that. So that's the reason for the delay in us getting back in here. I'll quickly go through some of these early slides. These are the project limits on 123 and North and South Worcester Street. Again, the need for this project is for higher crash rates at the intersection. There's poor alignment. There's no pedestrian or bicycle accommodations out there, and there's significant traffic congestion, especially on the side streets. This is a quick shot of what the improvements look like at the roadway level. The approximate roadway width here is existing roadway width is shown. Most of the widening is happening to the north side of 123. Overall, we're adding bicycle lanes with a painted buffer, and then the travel lanes that are essentially out there today. And just a quick note, mentioned this before, but essentially the construction funding for these projects is contingent on providing pedestrian and bicycle accommodation. And what we're showing is really the minimum that MassDOT requires in order to fund the project with federal and state funds. So this is just kind of a rendering of the project we presented at the design public hearing a couple of years ago. So, you know, what's proposed are essentially 2 traffic signals that will operate as one, with new sidewalks, some reconfiguration of the driveway entrance here. You can see the bike lanes on either side of the street, and then some improved pavement markings for the turning lane onto South Worcester. We're adding a right turn lane on South Worcester Street. And a section of sidewalk over here as well. We couldn't get a sidewalk in along this side. We were able to get a waiver from MassDOT. It was just going to be too much impact to the slope bordering Charlie Pond to do that. So I'm just going to jump down to South Worcester Street for a moment. These are the actual notice of intent plans. Before Elise gets into some of the resource area impacts and changes, just want to review what what caused the delay in us coming back to you guys. So on South Worcester Street, the original project limit was down here. There's a driveway entrance here. I mean, we were taking the new sidewalk work to the other side of that driveway to meet up with a recent project by the town to build new sidewalk on this side. What happened in the interim was we were asked to do a visual inspection inside the underground culvert channel that runs from the pond to the other side of South Worcester. And based upon that inspection, the work to replace the drainage structures, which discharge directly into the roof of that culvert, would have turned into a major reconstruction project of this entire channel, essentially, rendering it impossible to fund the project. So the project limits were cut just short of that culvert so that we don't have to get into those drainage structures. And that's really the limit, the change in limit that warranted the change in the design plans. So I'm going to turn it over to Elise, who will get in a little more detail on the resource area impacts and what our changes were from the last submission. And Elise, just let me know which plan you want me to change.
Sounds good. Thanks, Matt. So before I jump into the changes in resource area impacts, I do just want to provide a quick refresh of what resource areas that we're dealing with at the site. So we are proposing work within bordering land subject to flooding, the 200-foot riverfront area to Chartley Brook, as well as buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland and bank. And so we do have wetlands in a kind of north-south. We have them all along the project corridor there. So most of the project is within either a buffer zone or a resource area. So we are providing compensatory flood storage to the extent feasible within the limited project corridor. And that's going to be on the north side of Route 123. And I will show you that a little bit closer later. And you can zoom into it, Matt, too. That works just as well. We are providing, perfect. So that is one section of compensatory flood storage. And then if we continue just off of the page onto the next page, that is the other area of compensatory flood storage. And we are also filing the project under a limited project provision for the improvement of substandard intersections. As Matt has already indicated, the intersection here is not the easiest or safest. We are proposing work within the 25-foot local no disturbance zone, and we have requested as part of our notice of intent application relief from portions of that where we are working within there as necessary to construct the project. The south side of Route 123 associated with Chartley Pond. So if you want to go back up to that first plan sheet that you had there, Matt. Perfect. So we are, there's some natural heritage and endangered species habitat. We're dealing with estimated and priority habitat that's right along the project corridor there, with a little bit of the project working within that area. We did receive a determination from the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program that the project will not result in a take of state listed species. So with that brief summary there for you, as far as impact changes go, by reducing the limits of the project on South Worcester Street, there's a slight reduction in impacts. So we are going to be reducing the bordering land subject to flooding area of alteration. That's going to be reduced by 2,500 square feet. So that brings us to about a 36,000 square feet overall versus a little bit over 38,000. There will not be any change proposed to fill or the compensatory flood storage areas. And we have a slight reduction in the 100-foot inner riparian zone for riverfront area. That is going to be about reduction of 53 square feet of temporary impact, no change in the permanent impact, and a reduction of 334 square feet of redevelopment impacts. And that's a brief overview there. And I think we can go next to, we had a couple comments we received from the commission during the last hearing that we had. So as part of our revision, we wanted to address a couple of those comments, and I'll let Matt do the first and I'll move on with the last two.
Sure. So the first comment was regarding concern that the geometric improvements may adversely affect snow plowing operations. So we did check with the town of Norton, DPW. They did not express any concern. They actually thought the layout change may actually aid them in plowing, and MassDOT did not express any concern with the geometry. They're responsible for 123, and the town does the side streets.
Awesome. And the next comment that we had was just to clarify the depiction or more clearly show the compensatory flood storage areas. So we changed the hatching style that we use. So it's more of a diagonal. So it's a little bit easier to see, and that we had pointed out a little bit earlier discussing the compensatory flood storage areas. And then last but not least, we did have a question or comment about if riverfront area would be applied to Chartley Pond, considering its history. And we did do some research, and we found that, as discussed in this memo, the pond does not have any riverine characteristics, such as unidirectional flow, and it is identified as a pond on the USGS maps per the criteria in the Wetlands Protection Act that would be used to determine if riverfront area may be present. And we did also, as part of this memo, respond to the peer reviewer comments. They were pretty minimal, and we could get into those if the commission would like, but we figured we'd keep it to some of the bigger comments that were brought up during the last meeting. So we'd be happy to go into greater detail on anything we've discussed so far, or step back and look at a couple other things associated with the original project. So if Matt, you don't have anything else, then I'm happy to turn it over to the commission members for any questions, comments, concerns.
Yep, I'm good.
Any questions from commission members, or John, if you have any questions, comments?
So I did have a question. Can you zoom out to an overall? I want to see what the impacts are to BLSF versus the location of compensatory flood storage.
The sheet, Lisa, or
So the impacts are happening where? In the red? Is that...
Yes, correct.
Okay, and where's the compensatory storage?
there's one area here, and then one on the other side of the school driveway here.
Okay, so it's obviously it's proximate to where you're filling, right?
Yeah, we were trying to keep those on publicly owned land as well.
Okay, and how many linear feet of bank are you impacting?
There's no bank impact. We're just
There's
within
no
buffer
bank.
zone.
Okay. And I think the last question I had, and I know this, you don't always know this, but it could affect where the contractor stages and places equipment. I know it's really tight there. So given any thought to where they might stage, or because you really want that as part of the project site. So for instance, if they were going to stage equipment and use material stockpile area, say, along this route somewhere or in the vicinity, we would probably want to know that. You may not know that, but we would just put a condition in, maybe John Thomas, that talks about any staging areas that have to be approved first.
Yeah, we can definitely put something in that regard in the,
Okay.
in
I know
any
you don't
issue
know
order.
the answer to that because it's just tight. So they're gonna have to find somewhere. So we'll just condition it,
Okay,
that's all. And
I know-
ask the contractor to put a plan together or something just for the records to show where they're gonna stage.
The project is also subject to the requirements of a SWIP, so that it will definitely be something that comes into play down the road as well, if that's helpful.
Okay, so the SWIP hasn't been done yet then?
No.
Okay,
yeah,
so
that will be prepared by the contractor, Lisa, that MassDOT selects.
okay. So John, we want to make sure that they, maybe just, when we reference the SWIP deliverable prior to the start of construction, that we make sure they identify any staging areas. That's all.
Agreed.
Okay. That's all I had.
Any other questions from the commission?
So one other question, I guess, that the peer reviewer had was with regards, I guess, to the catch basins and why they can't use hoods, I guess, on the catch basins. Because that would basically be the only treatment provided for this project. So I guess, I don't know, any clarification that I guess the consultant would be able to give the commission?
Yeah, so MassDOT kind of handles hoods on a district basis, and District 5 is I think it's a maintenance issue for them. But they just don't allow hoods in state highway layout.
Is there any
And-
way we can get correspondence from MassDOT stating that?
Sure, I can ask for that.
So are they at least deep some?
Yes.
They are deep some. Okay, well, that's helpful. How often do they maintain these, Matt? Do you know? I'm sure it's part of their MS4 permit, the district.
I don't know I don't know what, how it's actually maintained versus what's supposed to be maintained.
Right, no,
Um,
I get that.
We can, we can ask that question as well.
Okay, I mean, I'm sure their MS4 permit dictates how often they're supposed to be cleaning them, whether they're quarterly or. But you run into this all the time. They don't want to retrofit them because they don't want to maintain them. I get it. But from the town's perspective, it's probably our only chance to have some level of water quality discharging directly to Chartley. So you can understand our position. So,
Totally understand it, and I
Yeah.
will reinforce that when I ask. I won't simply just ask for an email stating why. I will definitely push back a little on that issue and express the concern that you guys have.
okay, much appreciated.
Any other questions from, I'm going to say anybody in the meeting? And for those that don't attend regularly, you have two ways to ask questions. You can go to the reactions button and press the hand raising, or you can just take your mic off mute and ask a question, but identify yourself in the process. So I don't see any or hear any questions. So at this point, John, do we have enough to consider closing this hearing, or are there outstanding issues?
So the only issue I see is that the window of opportunity for us to issue an order would lapse if we closed it today to our
Correct.
next meeting. So I will I'll work on drafting up an order for the next meeting. I think it would be safe to just say that, continue to the next meeting, close it, and potentially issue an order on the 14th. That would be kind of best for this project as we move forward.
Yeah, so for the applicants or representatives of the applicants, it's basically a formality. We would close the hearing and then issue the order. So you can be in touch with the office as to whether or not there's any need to be present at that meeting.
Well, Julian, excuse me, but I think we need an answer on the catch basin. in
Okay,
sorts first. Yeah,
all right.
unless they
So,
want us to condition it, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
so Matt, you'll be able to provide that potentially on the 14th?
Yeah, I mean, once I hope to have an answer to this question and a reason, by the end of the week, and we'll certainly get that in as soon as we can.
Well, I was just thinking if we don't have an answer by the 14th, because I know how that works, perhaps we can condition something that says we need something for the record either way about hoods.
That was the
So-
recommendation from the peer reviewer, by the way, just
Yep.
so we're on the record, same.
Oh, yeah, no, should be done, but yeah.
All right, if there are no further questions or discussion, we can consider a motion to continue this hearing until April 14th.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Lisa, seconded by Tama.
Second.
For continuation. And we'll have a roll call vote, starting with Joe, Mark, and Tama.
Aye.
Aye.
And Dan and Lisa.
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So, so Matt, I guess we'll see someone, then whoever you decide on the 14th, and
Yeah.
then close it up.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks all.
thank you.
Have a good one.
Next on the agenda is a new public hearing, doesn't yet have a file number, 250XXXX, 47 Oak Street, concerning the removing of an existing house and constructing a barn with a septic system. Do we have a representative of the applicant?
I am the applicant. My representative was tied up with a meeting in Foxborough tonight.
Okay, so you are the homeowner or you're gonna be carrying out the project?
Correct.
And do you have a plan you can share with us?
I
Or-
do.
So we do have a plan on the screen and we have to blow it up a little to see it. All right. So, Mr. Forbes, are you familiar with presenting this kind of a project or?
I am not. But
Well,
the-
So-
Maybe,
Go
So,
ahead.
Mr. Forbes, I talked to Craig today, so I told him that I'd help you with this. So the landowner is basically, he has currently has a dilapidated structure on his property. I think it's a house that is in very bad condition, and he's looking to raise that building. And in that place, basically, you can see the outline of the existing house where it currently is here. And kind of in that same location, he's proposing a barn. And he's gonna have, I believe, a working toilet, so he's gonna need a septic system. And he's gonna have a reserve for that. And it looks like Craig has accommodated to have some sort of Coltech system to capture any sort of runoff from the roof. And then he's got the septic system over here. I went out to the site, I reviewed the wetlands. I didn't have any issues with the wetlands and the flagging. The only concern that I had was there's a lot of rubbish and tires and old debris in the back, which, as part of the project, it would be great to kind of hand remove that stuff. So that would be one of the conditions that I'd probably recommend to the commission to be part of the cleanup effort as part of any sort of issuance of a permit on this project. But as I look at it, what he's proposing here for the barn and whatnot would be an overall improvement of the existing conditions of the site. I think it's a very it's a house in disrepair, to put it nicely. Is that correct, Ross?
That is correct. It's an unlivable dwelling that needs to be torn down.
Yes. So I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to give to that presentation, Ross. What are your intent for this barn? I guess that's something I don't know.
So I'm a lot adjacent to the north. And the barn is just to simply have a barn, just a hobby shop, our garden supplies. That's about it. I grew up there with a barn across the street, and I moved back to this side of the street as an adult and bought the family house and want to put a barn up right next to it.
Nice.
And the only change to these plans that I spoke to Craig about that he said I should speak to now is that the northwest conservation signs is 3 signs starting on the property line. We'd like to move those back to where it's already cleared currently. It's just full of underbrush. There's no trees coming down or anything, because those signs and that sediment control go through what's currently already cleared and sort of being used.
Oh, can you
Okay.
point to that? Sorry.
Yeah. So where would that be?
I could share my screen to show that.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
I had to request it, so.
You should be all set now.
Can you see that?
It's coming in right now.
So it'd be 1, 2, 3, making them follow the contour of the 25-foot buffer like these other ones are.
Mm-hmm.
So they would go over in this direction. This right here is my existing chain link fence.
I got you. So you want
Oh.
to change? So you want to change the limit of work? Technically, is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, there would really be no work done there, but those signs are permanent, and
Mhm.
this sign and this sign are right in this pathway here that's already cleared that would connect the 2 lots.
Where you have your 2 trailers? Yeah, I saw
Exactly.
those. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too. I was like, that's very close to where he has that passage area. So, all right. I don't see any objection to that. I just think we would need a updated plan of showing where those 2 conservation signs would eventually be.
Okay. And Craig said he would do that.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I was just gonna ask, it wouldn't make sense for you to go out into the street to get to this lot. So how do you get to the lot from your house? And that, you just explained it.
Yes.
Okay.
I guess the only other question is, why do we not have a number yet? Does anybody know the answer to that?
I don't want to speak for DEP, but I'm sure they have a good reason. It took a while for us to get the numbers that we have had for a couple projects so far, so they might be backed up, or they may have other projects for other towns, because it's based on county.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, we'll clearly have to continue this because no number.
Did anybody check it today, or?
I just checked it right now, so it was received, but there's still no number.
Oh, okay, so that could be that the check hasn't cashed yet. So you have to send the money to the lockbox. So once that clears, then they're free to issue the number, in addition to the administrative review. So it could be the filing fee catching up.
All right, well, that would, if there's still no number next time, we'll have difficulty closing. Is that correct?
That
We
is
can't
correct.
close.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can't close without having an issued number.
Yeah, so that may be a detail that maybe Craig could be sure.
Yeah,
gets
I would
solved.
just reach out to them because it says a check number on here, so I feel like they
Oh.
probably got it.
I know it was sent about 2 weeks ago, so I
Mm.
will check with Craig and with them.
All right, any further questions or comments from anyone in the meeting on this project? If not, we can consider a motion for continuation of this hearing until April 14th.
I'll make the motion to continue the public hearing for 47 Oak Street to April 14th.
Second,
Motion by Lisa, seconded by Dan. Joe, Mark, and Tama, how do you vote?
Aye.
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 And Lisa and Dan?
Aye.
aye,
And I'll throw in an aye, so the motion carries. All right, thank you, Ross.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is an order of conditions for 416 Old Colony Road. Basically, the findings were specific, but everything else appears to be what we usually issue. So nothing controversial.
No wetland mitigation, no wetland crossing, nothing out of the ordinary, so pretty straightforward.
Questions, comments, motions?
You did say motions, right?
Well, or emotions, anything.
And I am on mute. That wonderful just was on mute. Okay, sorry. I will make a motion to issue the order of conditions for file 250-1170. Excuse me.
Motion by Lisa and seconded by
Second.
Joe to accept the minutes as drafted for file number of 250-1.
The order. Sorry.
Yeah. The order, order of conditions. How's that? So Mark, Tama, and Joe, how do you vote?
Aye.
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 Lisa and Dan?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. The motion carries. And I don't know if we have anything else. I don't think we do.
So that was 42 minutes. Is that our fastest time?
No, we had like 20 minutes the other day, like
Oh.
2 weeks ago.
Really? Do we have
Or
20 minutes?
2 meetings ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
it sounds like it'll catch up to us on April 14th, right?
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, it definitely will, it seems. So, sorry, everyone.
Well, we can all, take a deep breath and say, we are democracy in action. We can always invite Doge in.
Well, the good news is that we get to continue the Zoom ease of access here for the next 2 years, so we can look forward to that. So I know
Hopefully.
I'm. What do you mean? Hopefully,
She hasn't signed it yet.
she just signed something to extend permits for 2 years. You don't think she's going to extend the Zoom thing for 2 years? I
Listen,
mean,
people don't move fast when you want something, okay? That's how it works.
well, she has a deadline. I'm sure she's going to sign it like tomorrow. So, all right.
You
Well,
can always call her up.
yeah, I think she's kind of busy, Dan. I think she's dealing with quite a bit right now. So I don't want to make any comments, but she's dealing with quite a bit right now. So anyways,
If you're bored, I'm sure there's some more salamanders running around tonight.
oh, there's definitely going to be some more salamanders. Joe, do you want to talk about your most recent interactions with areas in Norton that you've experienced?
Actually, we were on the edge of Norton, so we were in
Okay.
Taunton.
You're in Taunton. Okay.
The last rainstorm there, the family and I went out and we checked on some vernal pools that had fairly easy access and participated in a salamander sweep with a local biologist, and we got to see some mating balls and some really interesting things. So it was deafening in the vernal pools that night. So it was pretty exciting.
Peeper tide. Well, at least that's
One of
what
the
I call
pools
it.
one of the pools we were in had 300 or 400 yellow spotted salamanders, and we had 3 giant balls. Pretty cool.
That is cool. All right. Well, if everyone's good, I guess we'll be seeing each other over Zoom in the next, how many days, Megan?
I don't know. I'm on vacation in my mind already.
In the next 3 weeks, we will be meeting again, and Megan will be on vacation. So if anybody wants to chat, feel free to send me an email, call my phone. But I'll be checking the main line on occasion. So if anybody needs to reach out, feel free to call me. All right.
Very good.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you guys.
Take
Right.
care.
Very
Good
good.
night.